Since all I do is take, I figured I better start giving back and hunt some Easter eggs from John Cena's epic promo, so let's go to work. Hey, welcome to the OK Not OK podcast. I am the SportsZu, and this is all the Easter eggs, references, and little things you might have missed from John Cena's The Last Time Is Now tour, episode 4. And the title of this episode is John Cena Trashes the WWE Universe until Cody Rhodes fires back. And this episode is about how the people have failed the hero and that they must be humbled, which ties into the main theme of the episode, positive toxicity. As John Cena will explain, he's given to the WWE Universe 25 years of greatness, and yet it was never enough. And positive toxicity itself is an oxymoron, which is a figure of speech that is pairing two words together that are opposing or contradictory. And indeed, medical news today calls positive toxicity an obsession with positive thinking. It is the belief that people should put a positive spin on all experiences, even if those are profoundly tragic. So, let's get to the breakdown. So let's start with John Cena's entrance on this week's Raw. Many people thought that he would have new entrance music following the Elimination Chamber, but nope, it was the same classic "The Time Is Now" entrance song that he has used for years. And in fact, not much has changed in his entrance because when John Cena emerges, we just see another location-specific Titantron and a location-specific t-shirt, starting with the Netflix premiere of Monday Night Raw. And we were in Los Angeles for that episode, so that had a Dodgers theme. Then when we went to the Royal Rumble, that was in Indianapolis, so it had a Colts theme. Then at the Elimination Chamber, that was in Toronto, so we had a Blue Jays theme. And this week's Raw was in Brussels, Belgium, so it had a traditional red, yellow, and black theme to it, which is the colors of their flag. And with the red being dominant, you would probably see this look similar to the Belgian national soccer team's home kit. Or if you were in the United States, that would normally be called a uniform, but they love kit for soccer for some reason. But Cena does make some changes from there when he emerges out of the entrance, because normally he speaks to the camera and the cameraman and gives that classic salute, which is kind of like what I did at the top of the show, or what Dr. OK did in the first version of the Dr. OK show. Because of course, no one loves John Cena more than the Doc. So much so that he calls him Dr. O'Thug, and boy, that has been really annoying for the last 20 years of my life. So instead, Cena briefly holds up his towel, which says the last time is now, and he normally would then run to the ring and slide under the bottom rope onto the mat, but this time he's now just walking slowly to the ring with a standard entrance where you lift your feet up and go between the ropes. And after he's in the ring, he also doesn't run the ropes, going back and forth, and give his double OK hand gesture, which is just another thing that the Doc stole from Cena. But of course for him, that stands for the 3 tenets of Cenaticism: hustle, loyalty, and respect. So instead, he plants himself in the middle of the ring and gives that same blank expression that he gave at the end of the Elimination Chamber. And I have to admit, that's a nice immediate callback there to what we just saw at the end of his last appearance. And of course, he didn't throw his hat or his shirt, and we think we may know why he's not throwing that hat anymore. Though, just recently, you may have seen a video on your socials showing Cena walking away with a full head of hair. But I'm guessing that's just from some sort of movie magic, since that's where he has been ever since the Elimination Chamber until Monday Night Raw. Then before he said anything, he twice dropped the mic, which perhaps was disrespect for the crowd, but it was probably also some trolling of the internet wrestling community, or IWC, as several of those members thought that he should not speak at all, or at least not yet until we get closer to WrestleMania. But when Cena finally spoke, it was hard to hear him at first, but he said, when someone is properly grounded in life, they shouldn't have to look outside themselves for approval. and that is exactly what he posted to X that day, which is an account known for some random self-improvement quotes, and this one was no different than any other, and of course that was relevant for his purpose today because he no longer seeks the crowd's approval, believing he's grounded to only need to seek his own inward approval instead. But after that quote, he dove right in, saying that he is the victim of an abusive relationship with the WWE Universe for the last 25 years because the WWE has been hurtful, and all the while he took it with a smile on his face. But then he dove into those wrestling buzzwords, saying, "I am not a babyface, I am not a heel," and both of those words are a callback to the Netflix premiere Cold Open that was read by Triple H when he said, "A great swath of American culture is built of that eternal battle between the face and the heel." And of course, if you're watching this video, that means you probably know that those are the terms for the good guy and the bad guy in professional wrestling. And in Triple H's cold opening, he also expanded to use the words shoot and work, which distinguishes between parts of wrestling that are not scripted versus those that are scripted. And of course, we don't want to use that F word in this video, so we certainly will not. But on top of Triple H saying those words, I think Dr. OK nearly had his brain broken when he heard his own childhood hero, John Cena, say that same exact thing. And I know that he's mostly lost his mind over the last few months, especially with Kevin Owens, but one more of these references may send him right to a real doctor. But of course, Cena continued, saying that he is a human being and each and every one of you has been awful to him. And he also talked about how people hated him when he first got here, so he changed himself. And I don't know about that. I think maybe he should have stuck with the Doctor of Thugonomics. Of course, that means I would have had 25 years of the doc just doing that non-stop, instead of only probably half of the time. So Cena said that wasn't enough and that he worked hard and started to win. And win and win and win, and he said the word win 9 times, so I didn't see anything specific there, especially since he is a 16-time world champion. And when he won and won and won, he said that all of us hated it, so he spent the next 10 years trying to give away everything that he possibly could, but even that was not enough. Now looking back, which 10-year period exactly does he mean? I guess we can't quite be sure, but I'm tending to lean from 2005 to about 2015 in that post-Dr. Thugonomics era, since that got him through his 15th title that he won in a Money in the Bank ladder match, and then lost to Brock Lesnar in that glorified squash match, which maybe perhaps meant that Cena was entering a different era because he then went on to go into that US title open challenge run that eventually set him up for his 16th title against AJ Styles, when he started really to start phasing out at that point, and that got us to his last one-on-one win versus Triple H on April 27th, 2018. So that takes us to the number that we like to keep on counting right now, with 2,521 days since his last one-on-one victory. Now, interestingly, he said he tried one last time to get along with you guys, and you ruined it. Just like how you ruin everything. Now this, I don't exactly understand, because let's go back to that Netflix premiere of Raw yet again, because on that show, Los Angeles rained down praise and thunderous "Thank you, Cena" chants, and he also said you guys are very, very smart. So as far as the fans are concerned, they sure seemed like they wanted Cena to win the Royal Rumble, and they were going absolutely insane in Toronto when he won the Elimination Chamber match. But since the Chamber, this was his first appearance, so he hadn't said anything else in front of the crowd, so all of this doesn't add up where things went wrong here between Cena and the fans. But Cena continued, saying no matter what I do, it is never enough, and all you do is take. So he mocked the crowd over and over, repeating, "What do we get? What do we get?" And then he answered his own question saying, "You get nothing." And you get what you earned, and what you earned is nothing. But I have to stick up for the fans here, John, because you did all the taking in this relationship. You took all those wins. You took all those championships. You took those 5 moves of doom and shoved them so far up our behinds, up through our stomach, up our neck, and popped our own eyes out, and that you took all those things for all those years without ever changing, never giving us the heel turn that we wanted for so long, and then you left to try to be just like The Rock and take the big bucks in Hollywood that you never would have gotten if we didn't have to listen to you preach over and over hustle, loyalty, and respect. So yeah, John, I would like to ask you, what would we get? And yes, it is better late than never, after finally 25 years, that you gave us something that we desperately deserve. But I digress. This is where he talked about not giving us new music or a new look. Instead, this was just one in the same vein as the other. Farewell tour merch. And then, of course, we also got the classic jorts. But I need to note right here that as I was preparing to film, I saw news that Money in the Bank will be on June 7th at the Intuit Dome, which happens to be the same location as that Netflix premiere of Raw, when Cena specifically said, "Thank you, Monday Night Raw, for allowing me the honor to stand in a WWE ring in Los Angeles in full jorts for the last time." Now, this would seem to indicate one of two things: that Cena will either not appear on that PLE, or will he be changing out of those jorts by then? Could he be going fully corporate heel Cena by then? Or, of course, maybe he just didn't think that far ahead, and we just didn't know if his schedule was going to work out. But as of now, his confirmed dates include the SmackDown following Saturday night's main event, and that will be on May 30th. Then, after the alleged Money in the Bank, he will be scheduled for the next 2 SmackDowns after Money in the Bank, which are June 13th and June 20th. And back to the promo with the crowd shouting, "Cody, Cody, Cody." So Cena called Rhodes the brand new shiny toy. And I have to say that Cody Rhodes debuted all the way back in 2007 and is 39 years old, so I would say that is hardly a brand new shiny toy. But I am not talking about Rhodes specifically in this video. However, I do want to point out one thing: that when Rhodes finally appeared and Cena called him Kid, Rhodes responded with "Enough," which just so happens to be the same thing he recently said to Kevin Owens. And unfortunately, I have to agree with the doc here just a little bit, because KO had a point, as he was Rhodes' friend, and KO had been fighting against Roman Reigns and the Bloodline for over 3 years, going back to the very beginning of the Bloodline story in the summer of 2020. And as the doc pointed out on the Dr. OK show on Tuesday, this does seem to be all that Rhodes can say when there isn't much that he can say to defend himself. And here, the best he could do was saying that he wanted to fight the guy on the shirt, because in storyline, Cena at least realized he had to do something else to beat Rhodes. So Rhodes wanting to face the guy on the shirt makes him look like a guy that wants to face another guy that hasn't won a match in 2,521 days. Whereas this new Cena is a whole different animal. But Cena then called out the entire crowd, saying those that say "Let's go Cena" are just as bad as those who say "Cena sucks." And of course, we know for years and years and years we have had these competing chants in the crowd amongst the entire WWE universe, and at various points it's really hard to tell which side gets more momentum, as it does seem to be pretty well split 50-50 very often. But at that point, Cena pointed out a bunch of people in the crowd one by one, and he surely scarred this one poor boy for life in the process of doing that. And he said all they've ever done is steal from him and made him their toy. And speaking of toy, Cena was in fact playing a toy as Mermaid Ken in 2023's Barbie. That crossed over $1.4 billion in the worldwide box office and is clearly the most successful Cena movie to date. It of course won several awards, including the Academy Award for Best Original Song for What Was I Made For by Billie Eilish and Phineas. And I will say Billie is great, but that is a distant second best song to Cena's Mermaid Barbie screen partner Dua Lipa's Dance the Night. And of course, hanging out with Dua in 2 movies, including Argyle, really seems and feels like a life win to me because... wait, what was I talking about here, guys? What was I talking about? Sorry, lost my train of thought there for a second. But okay, anyways, he said we were not ready to lean into an uncomfortable conversation as the Let's Go Cena people wear his clothes to make themselves feel good. So while he lives by his mantras, hustle, loyalty, and respect, and never give up every day, the rest of us use him as an excuse for our pathetic failures of life. And all we've ever done for 25 years is sit on our behinds and watch him be great. And I don't know why, but for some reason this made me think of Disney's 2008 movie WALL-E, which was set in 2805, as all the humans are on a giant spaceship and they're basically incapable of doing anything other than sit on their behinds and eat and stare at screens all day long due to having robots cater to their every whim. But I don't know, John, is that us, or do you want us to go in there and take some bumps with you in the ring from time to time? Is that what you need us to do? I don't know. It sure seems to me that people are paying tickets to see you perform in the ring, and of course they are buying your 1,000 or so WWE related toys. So is that not enough for you either, John? So Cena ends all this by breaking up with us, because whether you like him or you don't like him, you are dumped. And he ends with, you know I'm right and you know that you are wrong. And John, I guess I have to say, I'm proud of you, man. Yeah, I'm proud of you. It looks like you finally looked at yourself in the mirror and broke yourself out of that positive toxicity. But I guess now you're just plain toxic. And like I said just a little bit earlier, it is about time because we've been waiting a long time for this. So while not every single beat makes perfect sense here, and he also somehow failed to bring up either The Rock or selling his soul even once, I kind of thought that was pretty much a big deal of what we saw at the Elimination Chamber. I have to say, overall, this was still a stroke of genius and a great opening salvo on the final turn in Cena's road to WrestleMania. Well, that's all the Easter eggs we found, but if you found any, let me know in the comments below. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe and smash that bell for alerts. For the OK Not OK podcast, I'm the SportsZu. And I don't have any cute puppy Dougs out there, so be sure to check out the Doc's video about Naomi's decision to turn off the glow right here, and thanks to my friends at Screen Crush for this idea, but yeah, they don't even know that I exist yet. But I just have to shout them out because they produce so many amazing Easter egg videos about my favorite TV shows, including those going on right now in Severance and Daredevil. But before I forget, Colton, you're